What is up, all my queerdos, weirdos, and brohos? It is me, Audra, your host for today's video. I am doing this live. I said that there would be a live stream. So I'm just going to get started. So then that way, everybody who watches this on the replay, it feels just like a regular video. And you're not waiting for me to say hi and hello to everyone. So first and foremost, I wanted to do this. And if it goes well, hi 93 Run, hi Janet. If this goes well and y'all enjoy it, let's say it gets, I don't know, 173 likes, then I will continue this series whenever I have time. Hi, Fefe. So, or Fefe. So the first thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about when it comes to talking yourself out of makeup is it's not always going to be successful, right? Sometimes you talk yourself into it and sometimes you just don't care. A big reason for me doing this series and attempting to do this has absolutely zero to do with like finances or what I do or do not need. I, especially with hobbies, absolutely hate that, especially when it comes to beauty and makeup, we put this idea of whether or not you need it. Nobody needs most of the stuff we buy. We just want it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with you wanting things. The main reason I try to talk myself out of things is just to, one, it's an experiment to see, like, okay, why do I want this? So today I'm going to be talking about, since it's spooky season, I'm going to be talking about the Unearthly palettes. They had 4 Halloween eyeshadow palettes. They had 1964. I can't see. The Weirdos, So Strange, and Warms My Blood. Let's take a peek. Boom. So, oh, I'm so excited. Janet, I wanted all 4 as well. And the first thing I did to start talking myself out of it, I'm on Indie Makeup Hotspot, as you can clearly see up here on the thing. The first thing I said was admit to yourself that you like the packaging. Okay. This is my first step every time I'm trying to talk myself out of buying a palette is I have to first admit I like the packaging and that's what's drawing me in, right? The very first thing I'm like, oh, I love the packaging. I want it. As soon as I admit that, then I can move past the packaging. Hey, Danae. Hey, Emily, Natalie, welcome in. Meg, hi. Felisa, I see you, and Maisha. So once I do that, I'm able to start really looking at these palettes and go, okay, remove the packaging and just look at the palettes. Now, I have 3 Unearthly Cosmetics palettes. And one of the things I immediately realized was that these palettes are not all going to be the same size, much like these 3. This one's not the same. This one's not the same. Like none of these are the same size. So I'm already irritated by that anyway, just generally. I know some people don't get annoyed by it, but I do kind of get irritated when things from the same brand are not the same size. Like it's one thing to have like a 9 pan size, a 15 pan size, like whatever, but I feel like they will have palettes that are the same amount of pans and they will all be very different. Diamond in my eye. Yeah, the packaging of the first one doesn't even really match the color story. So then that is the next thing I actually started doing. I started going in and looking at them, and in all of them, I noticed a thing, like a little thing. So in the Weirdos and in Warms My Blood, it appears that there's like black navy-ish shades. So I definitely don't need all 4 because I don't need those shades repeated in all of these palettes. Oh, Puff, I'm sorry. Hey, listen, I'm keeping this up. All right. I'm keeping this up. So I looked at that and I was like, yeah, I don't need black/navy in all 4 of these. So I'm already like saying I don't need all 4. It's very easy for me to do that. I then started looking at a couple of different things. So I'm going to try my bestest to pull these up. Okay. So looking at this one, I realized, okay, I don't need brown. And Unearthly has a habit of putting this particular shade of purple in quite a few of their palettes. Um, and so I realized I don't also that shade of purple does not look good on me for most brands. It just very rarely comes across nicely on my skin tone. I also realize when I look at it, just like this. I don't like the backing of the packaging. It's not making everything pop. And so as I looked at this, I was like, oh, well, this shade here doesn't really look like it pops that much. And this color story altogether doesn't seem to match up to me. I feel like there's shades that don't really belong in this palette. Like I don't know why there's like this white here doesn't, it seems kind of out of place. These shades seem to go together, and like maybe like right in here goes together, but this bottom line, this shade, like the rest of it doesn't seem to match. Hi Kathy and Chi. They also put greens in every palette. Exactly. See, y'all playing the game. So you go into the Weirdos, right? So already I'm like, okay, well, I don't want 1964 because I did look at all of them together and go, which one do I like the least? And 1964 was actually the one I liked the least. So then I decided, okay, which two do I like the best? And it's the Weirdos and So Strange. So let's go look at the Weirdos and figure out how I started playing with it. Obviously, love the packaging, love the likeness of Nancy. I think she was just misunderstood. She was just misunderstood. All right. Power corrupts sometimes, all the time. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. All right. So now this one is definitely going to be in my wheelhouse. I love a purple palette. Howsoever, I realized just looking at that and looking at the palettes I have, I was like, oh, okay, well, I kind of have some of these shades from them. Like Dangerous Type, which is the shade right in the middle, kind of matches up to Cuddles, which is from this Sleepover palette. I then also noticed my least favorite thing is in the actual shade The Weirdos, which is a shimmery black. I despise shimmery black. And I don't like shimmery shades, shimmery matte type shades anyway. I have that here with Sleepover, and it's a matte with shimmer. Let me just transition us here. But it is a matte with a shimmer. My issue is always going to be the same. This shimmer is not going to stay. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't look good. You end up getting a lot of fallout, and you can't really see the shimmer at all unless you yourself are staring at it. So when you put it on your eye, like nobody can see the little shimmers, and that's what shimmer shades are for in the first place. Not my friend, not my cup of tea. Thank you, Kimberly. Oh my gosh, Kimberly, you've been here so long. I don't even know what I would do without y'all. Like I just listen, you're fabulous. And a remarkable sense of humor. Harana said, Audra, when I tell you I had to force myself to sit the F down and search for dupes of the shimmers in my collection to stop me from trying to buy So Strange and warms my blood. Exactly. And that's why I start doing these kinds of things. It's an exercise in me. Like, we all love our makeup. We all love our makeup hoards. Listen, do what you will. I am not here to judge. I despise, like I said before, despise it when people say you don't need this, you don't need that. Nobody needs any of these things. We just want them. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to watch your pocket if you don't watch mine. The goal is to like enjoy your makeup, but also for me to kind of not allow myself to fall into these traps of consistently buying things because I'm like, oh my gosh, the packaging is so cute. And like, I could use this. So as I look at this palette, I begin realizing, okay, Invoke is like a cute silvery shade, but I kind of don't feel like it goes. I feel like there's two 6-pan palettes in this one palette. There's one at the top and one at the bottom, and the two are not hanging out. So already realizing that, I'm like, ugh. Then I look and I go, what shades am I not going to be able to use or not use at all? Chances of me using this like kind of weird white shimmer at the very bottom, fairly slim. Power, which is this kind of let's say gray beige type shade. I'm not going to use this. I have a feeling that even though I really like Blessed Be, it will not come across on my skin looking very good. So at this point, I'm looking at just kind of the top maybe 4 shades, and also this green because I love me a green. I also do like Invoke, but I'm also aware that I don't use a lot of silver. So I've kind of brought myself down to 5 shades in this entire palette that I'm going to use. And this is 3, 6, 9, 12. So out of 12 shades, I'm definitely like, yeah, I'm going to use 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, ma'am. Hold on. I forgot about that. I'm like, thank you. So this is what I was saying. I'm so sorry. I forgot. I thought I pushed the buttons and I didn't push the buttons. So all I can see at this point is that 3x3 Glamour, I'm Flying, Dangerous Types, and Smokes. Those are going to be the shades I use out of the 12. I'm not going to use this. I have so many beautiful black shades at this point, like just pure black. Even if it's supposed to be like a navy shade, I still have those. Those are glorious. Power is not going to look good on me. Blessed Be might show up kind of, but not the way that I want it to. I can't actually see the name of the shade because the little dots are on it, but I have this shade. I feel like I have a shade somewhat similar to that in here. I think it's like Lily. It may be more bluey based. It's this shade. It may be a little bit more bluey based, less pinky based, but that's okay because I probably have a pinky based one in all of my single shadows. So I yes, 93 rent, just buy singles. Like that's where I am too. So once I looked at that, I was like, okay, well, it's only going to be 5 shades out of this palette. So even though I like the artwork, let's move forward. So then I go to So Strange because, of course, Lydia Dietz is an icon, okay? A goth icon, all right? We all want to be Lydia Dietz at some point if you were into it. And you do not need this if you have Hi Crybaby Shy. Oh my gosh. I can't believe you're here again. Since you never get to see me, I guess is why you're here. But goth icon, Lurvit, living my best life. If you are, yeah, and like that Emily said, if you were a palette buyer, definitely pick this up if you like it. But I don't like that I have 2 separate palettes in this one. And I know that really if this were a 6-shade palette and it was just like the top, I would have bought it. You know what I mean? Now I look at this palette and I don't feel like it completely captures what it's supposed to capture. I don't feel like it's necessarily capturing Lydia. I feel like it's capturing a lot more actual Beetlejuice than Lydia. Do you see what I'm saying? So like the artwork is Lydia, right? And we know, okay, all right. But the palette as Beetlegeist. And so that's the thing, like that's what kind of got my brain together. I was like, hold on, because like I don't even know this gold shimmer at the bottom or super yellow shimmer at the bottom. I don't know where that even fits in with everything. This darkroom shade, by the way, feels very similar to where would it go? It feels a little similar to Invoke, just not as silvery, right? So it's kind of a mix between Invoke and the Weirdos. So I'm good on not getting darkroom. Again, I don't need another I don't need a black or gray shimmer shade at all. I have loads of them, loads of them. And the more I looked at it, the more I was like, this doesn't really capture Lydia. This is a Beetlejuice palette. Like, which is fine, but the artwork should be more, hey, Beetlejuice. Dragon's Rose. Hold on, let me see here. Because they're saying a few things that I'm trying to see what's going on here. I definitely like the artwork on them. I don't own anything. Okay. She did a live the other day where she swatched every single one of them. Who did? The owner of Unearthly? All shimmers are special shades, duo, multichromes. Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of the palettes as well. They are duo and multichromes. The ones that I have, it's the kind of the same deal. Like Lily is a duo multichrome or duo. I feel like Lily is a duochrome. Elvira is more just like a regular shimmer. That one's more regular. And then here, I'm going to show you with Glamour Ghoul in this shade. This, by the way, the palette that I'm playing with is the Hauntingly Glamorous. Again, they have a weird way of like constantly putting a shimmer into a matte. I hate it. I like the more I play with it, the more I'm like, I really hate that. But this is kind of like, this is what those shades, look like. Again, this has a shimmer in it. Do you see it? No. Is there a reason for it? No. I'm good on it. And special shades is a loose term. Like that's the thing. Cause like there's a lot of brands that will say special shades and they are special to them. I'm not taking it away from them. And don't get me wrong. I like Unearthly Cosmetics. This is just the way that I got to talk myself out. I find that their formula for deep skin is just okay. So there's also that. In this palette, I do like the shade Beetlejuice. I like basically this matte line here. I like it. I don't need sandworm. Sandworm is also kind of sort of repeated, like you see a little bit here in the power shade. So I feel like at that point, like when you look at all of them together, you can kind of start seeing some of these repeats. Nothing wrong with the repeats. Okay. Again, nothing wrong with repeating. But if I was going to buy all four, I would then realize, bad deal. So when I look at it and I start figuring out, like, what am I going to use? It's going to be these mattes right here. The chances of me using their shimmers are fairly slim. I personally find that Unearthly shimmer formula for me, a deep skinned person, is just okay. It's just okay. You know, Steven, that's a word and a half. Um, Special, and yet a ton of these small indie brands use the same distributor, same formulas. Exactly that. Um, I think, listen, you Firuza Balk was my everything. Okay. It was like her and Ione Sky. It was a whole thing. I got you. And that's the thing. If you bought these because you like the packaging, more power to you. Enjoy it. This is in zero way meant for you to not enjoy it. This is just me talking myself out of it. And then if I'm able to help you talk yourself out of it or make you feel less bad about not getting your hands on it, then I have done my job. I'm sorry. And by the time I kind of get done, I also do like one, maybe two shimmers in here, which is Afterlife and Shrunken Head. That's kind of it for me. So again, 5 or 6 shades is what I enjoy out of this. And the rest is like, I'm all right. So now we get into Warms My Blood, which is ginormous, BT dubs, in comparison to the others. It has, I feel like 25, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 shades. Yes, I was correct. Because I was like, was I right? 20? The packaging is the best part of this palette. I don't understand why we went from a 12 pound, right? 3, 6, 9, 12. Listen, don't mess with me and my disabilities with counting. And thank you. I don't know why we went from 12 to an additional 8 shades. And it didn't do anything better for the palette to do that. Like, that was the thing that I looked at. It didn't do anything significantly better for this palette to have 8 more shades, right? Yes. 12 plus 8 is 20. And yes, Emily, because this bigger one is all neutral. So I don't really understand why we went this way. Again, another black shade. I'm reaching the stage with a large amount of brands where I'm like, if you're going to release a 4 palette collection, you have to be very, very careful about like these deeper shades because to me, I just feel like you're not doing a lot with it at that point. Like if you get all 4, I want all 4 to be different. That's my thing. Different. So when I'm looking at this, you have this little 4 square here that's all right, but then these shades that are next to it don't match up to what's happening. And that's kind of my issue with this palette as a whole. I feel like if you were going to say, okay, I'm going to have 2 rows of mattes and 2 rows of shimmer, I almost wish that what you had done was been like, Drink is going to match Jessie. Forsaken's going to match this. Betrayal's going to match, Queen. Like you kind of have it, but they're too far from each other. So you have Betrayal matching Charms. I'd almost rather you matchy it. Listen, Jasmine, live your best life. If you ordered it, enjoy it. Let me know how much you like it though. Like, let me know how you feel about it because ordering things is like buying our shiz is so fun. Yeah, you got excited for a neutral palette and you should. You should. For me, I talked myself out of it. Your son's name is Lestat. That is the shiz. I'm so done. A Dragon's Rose, you are the business. High five, like air 5. No touching. But you get it. Yeah, I wish it had been matchy matchy. I almost wish that you'd been like matte, shimmer, matte, shimmer, matte, shimmer. I feel like sometimes this is one of the things that I wish indie brands would do a little bit more of and help make palettes more accessible to people. Because like one of the things about spending big money on a palette, right, is especially for people who aren't used to buying a lot of palettes or don't get a lot of palettes, having that like just immediately mapped out for you, gorgeous. It's easier for you to play with. I just kind of feel like you have these shades, just it's hodgepodged. I like every time I look at it, I'm just like, oh, if these were just a little more matchy matchy and went together well, like it just kind of feels like they threw these shades in and there was like no thought to the arrangement of the palette. So that alone told me, okay, you know you're gonna like Betrayal because you love purple. You're gonna like Charms because you like purple. Akasha, you're not gonna be down for because you have a lot of gold. It's fine. You don't need more gold. You're probably really gonna want it for Immortality, but the shade's not gonna show up the way you want to, and you're gonna get mad and you're gonna be like, this is the whole reason I bought it, and you're gonna throw a fit. Um, I don't need another bronzy shimmer. That's worship. I know better. I know better. I kind of wish Human and Awaken, the shade names were switched, but that's fine. Um, Queen, I kind of also wish the shade name was switched with Charms because Queen is royal purple. Eh. Hey! So really, once I did that, I was like, okay. I also paid attention to the fact that Violin, Mother, and Marius on my skin tone are not going to be that different from one another on the eye. Resurrect is probably going to be fairly close to Lestat and Betrayal. Again, those will probably be the same on my eye. And that's obviously without me using any kind of eyeshadow primer to give a little color to the, add more color to it. But once I looked at that, I was like, okay, I am good. And then I was able to look at all four of them sitting here like this. And I was like, yeah, I'm good on not getting this because you have green here, right? Like kind of deep greens that match here. Then I have these purples that kind of are like this light purple is going to be go more with like the grayish type tones, but those tones kind of go together. It's also going to go with this like purpley like or excuse me light pinkish tone. I'm good there. Do you see? The longer I stare at all of them, the more I'm good. Wait, you don't need more gold. A gnome trying to talk his dragon friend out of plundering castles on his day off, probably. So done. So done. But yeah, as I looked at all four of them together, I began to realize there's a lot of somewhat similar shades, some similar repeats for me that I don't need to have in my life. And Kimberly is correct. If you don't snatch indies at launch, you are pretty much not good. Jasmine, exactly. 3 setting shades for deep skin, pretty much. And that's what I kind of started to look at is how many of these palettes have a lot of setting shades or like crease shades for deep skin. And they don't do a lot for us. They're not really kicking it. They're not doing the things that I want them to do. Steven said, looking at them all together, and I'm overwhelmed thinking about how to figure out a look. And that's the thing. I think, too, what I would likely do if I really wanted to get one is I'm probably going to get the one that draws me the most, which is the one with all the purples in it. I know you're like, which one has purple? They all have purple. It's going to be, I'm so sorry, the Weirdos. That would, or So Strange. I'm sorry. Wait, is it So Strange? It's the purple one? 1964? I don't know which order we did this in. But anyways, it's this one. I would likely do that one. I would not be happy with the black in the middle. So now that I've said that, I'm going to go back and switch and do the So Strange palette. I said the Weirdos, but I'm going to actually have to go back and do So Strange, even though, like, if I had to pick one, I would do that just because it doesn't have a black shade in it or like a deep navy. It's the one that would like be most likely for me to use often enough. I would probably use it companion palette style. Kiara's in the house. Harana, Oh my gosh, thank you. Well, have a good rest of your day. Like indie Hunger Games, listen, who's last brand standing? Listen, if I can ever figure out like tier listing, I can't get wrap my mind around it. Like I know it's not super complicated, but if you are also a neurospicy ADHD type person, you know that like the very thought of trying to do something new just like bogs you down to where you're like it's gonna be hard. Quick example, I now use OBS, street like OBS as a streaming service like all the time. Have no problems with it. It's very easy. I'm like boop boop bop boop. Emily in chat wanted to murder me. I feel deep in their soul. They wouldn't admit it because they're too kind and they love me, but they were like, "Oh, we should try using OBS and stream." And I was like, "No, it seems really complicated." I was like, "No, it seems hard." Now I use it all the time. And I know when Emily saw me using it, like the rage, like the flames that had to just fire off of Emily's skull, just being like, I literally told you that we could use this and that it wouldn't be that complicated. And you were like, no, I'm fine. So, anyways, but it is very difficult for me to try new things. So I'm going to attempt doing like tier list type things at some point, and we'll do it live because I think sometimes if I just do it live, I get less stress. See, you do this all the time, and I do want to hurt you. Told y'all, it's a fact. Yeah. Vision of you coming in with a good idea. You can decorate an empty palette with stickers or a larger image if that's the biggest draw. Yes. So hold, please. Let me make myself. So another thing that I realize is a lot of times you can do exactly that and look at things like empty magnetic palettes, then get yourself some stickers and decorate. Or you don't even have to get a sticker. You can have an image like created for you for the outside of the palette, right? You can pick any image that you want, and then you can on there. You can get the size and all that stuff. You can have it done at like, do they still do Kinko's, Office Depot, any of those? You can have it done there. So I think a lot of these things that we do, talking ourselves down. And sometimes you end up talking yourself into it. Like that's the thing. So it's not always just being like, oh, I don't want to. It's just acknowledging, like, yeah, I'm buying this. I know I have duplicates of this. I still want it. And that's fine. Getting yourself to acknowledge these things about him is just so helpful for you as a person. I think it just like helps you to settle into the I want a thing and I am okay with wanting the thing. That's where I'm really trying to get because I know that people get in their bag and their feelings about, oh, well, I hate consumption and blah, blah, blah. And that's for you, babe. You live your life. But for people who want to just be able to talk about things and make their decisions and make an informed decision for themselves, you should be able to feel comfortable and confident that you got a thing, regardless of the fact that you may have some of the same things and you enjoy having the thing and you wanted the thing and you bought the thing. Zero guilt. Zip, zilch, nada. No guilt should be associated with you enjoying your things, y'all. Like, I really want y'all to know that you should just be able to enjoy them. There's not a lot that we get to enjoy in our lives in general because, like, the world always seems to be falling down around us. Enjoy. Yes, exactly. You're pretty much talking yourself into it at the same time. Yeah, and like that's the thing though. Sometimes you'll talk yourself into it and you'll be like, "Oh, well that's okay because I still want it." And that's fine. There's so many things where I talked myself out of something and then I bought it anyway. Sometimes I regretted it. Other times I was like, "I don't give a shit. I love it." Like I still really really even though with this slumber party palette or sleepover, I'm sorry. Even though I really just I despise the shade with my entire spirit and every part of my being. I really like this. Like it's a fun time. I have so much fun playing with this when I do play with it. I think out of the three palettes, I used to like the Hauntingly Glamorous the most, but I actually I pair these together. They're more fun. My least favorite out of all three of them is the Poison Apple. I feel like the mattes in this one are the weakest out of all three. They're the weakest. These mattes to me are the weakest mattes, and also some of the shimmers are weak. I do really like Poison, I think, because it looks very wet. Like it looks like a wet shade. And I like Red Delicious, but I don't really, I wouldn't even really on my deeper skin count it so much as like a shimmer as much. Like it's kind of got a little bit of sheen, but it's more of like a shiny matte in my opinion. So like that's where we are with that. So like here, I'll show you over here. Oh my gosh, Steven, you do this all the time. Thank you. You don't have to do that. Listen, Maisha, we have talked about that Rich Lux palette. I have talked about it. I pretend it doesn't exist. Yes, the sleepover palette is beautiful as blushes and highlighters on the skin. And here's the other thing that I like about this one in particular is that you can take these out. You can like pop these shades out. I'm not going to do it right now because I know that I will break it because that's who I am as a human being. But you can take these out. I'm sorry if I'm like blinding y'all with like light or whatever because I wasn't looking because the screen is over there. Listen, I need like more space and things to do all of the things that I want to do. But yeah, I do like this one the best. And like I said, I think that this one's the weakest out of the three that I own. Now, next time around, if y'all need some help being talked out of, see, Meg, I don't hate consumerism, but I dissect palettes like this all the time because I hate feeling buyer's remorse. Duping the vibes is so helpful, Emily. Yes, I feel like dissecting is a good word for it because I like Emily saying dissecting is a good. I feel like yeah, there's nothing wrong with you wanting a thing and enjoying your thing. And there's nothing wrong with just trying to evaluate if you need the thing in your collection to fill a gap or if you want the thing, regardless of if it's filling a gap, because you just want the thing. Both answers are fine. All answers are correct. This is a multiple choice quiz, and all of the answers are right. So, so I'm going to try to figure out some of these tier list things. So in between, like talking myself out of live streams that we'll do, I'll also attempt to do a tier list dealy bop on a live stream. We'll play together. We will have destruction. And channel members, patrons, I'm going to update some. I'm going to send you all a little thing. We're having movie night tonight. The Nat fam has been kind enough to invite us to such a thing. So I'm very excited for that. I will definitely be there. I will be working Saturday. I will be working Sunday. I will be working Monday. I will be working Tuesday. But guess what? Guess who's off when that Serenity palette launches again? It's me. I'm off. Guess what else? It's payday. I'm sorry, I got too excited. And see, Stephen, that's a thing that I try to get myself out of. And that's one of the reasons I do this because I feel like a lot of times when I try so hard to be like, I am not buying anything, I buy everything. And then if I try to be like, oh, well, we'll just go on like a medium, I'm now at a point where I'm like, I'm going to buy what I want to buy and enjoy it. If I get burned on how awful something is, that's how it is. But everybody has their different shopping. The 14th, October 14th, boba, 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 October 14th. So, see, and like that's what we're gonna do. So, like, one of the things, oh, Jeebus. So, what I'm going to try to do, like, first of all, as you know, I've been saying this, but I'm just gonna keep reiterating it before I bop off of here. Y'all, I actually filmed new makeup nonsense bingo, so that's already been done. If I edit it, that's the thing. But a lot of my makeup content will be live. I know that I don't care if it's irritating. I'm sorry. This is what I have time for. I work a lot. This is what I have time for. I appreciate all of you who show up to these and all of you on the replay. Thank you so much for watching this. We will be back again. I think what I'm going to try to do is in a Patreon live or whatever, figure out the whole tier list thing. We'll figure it out together. And then like, I'll put up whatever I have out of it. And then maybe we'll just kind of keep doing those there, but then I'll cut it up and put it up on the tubes of the U. So I know I'm ahead. Oh, William Patrick, I'm sad you won't be. Well, I will see you at another thing. And then again, keep your eyes out for the random times that I show up for makeup playtime. Everybody, just I thank you all. Thank you all so much for coming. I love how we were like hanging out and like talking about buying makeup, not buying makeup, how we shop. I think that that's really important for all of us. I think it's a fun time. You know, remember, it costs $0 to be kind. It's so good for your soul because if you don't take care of it, sure shit coming for yours. A very, very special thank you to my patrons and channel members without whom I would not be able to continue creating content. I hope you all have a wonderful, glorious evening, morning, or whatever time it is. And also, if you don't follow me on Twitch, come hang out on Twitch. And if you don't follow Robert on Twitch, you'll have to listen. He's building like these ugly Sims houses, and it's Robert Welch. So you should go hang out. Love y'all. Have a good one. Good night. Gute Nacht.